Hi, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. I hope you're all well. Who's already in the comments? We've got Patrick, Ross, Paddy, Martin, Anthony, and Paul Dad as well. But Willie, the Legion of Doom, we're back again. First of all, how are you? And how was your wee holiday and stuff that you had during
Good,
your
mate.
period of absence?
Very good. I'm looking forward to getting back in and talk about Celtic. It's obviously been a wee while since I've been on because I was on holiday, recharge the batteries. Although I need another holiday now because all I've done is drink and eat, and then the big day out with the boys on Sunday I'm still recovering from. And then I'm away again next week to a stag do. So it's all go at the moment, but I'm looking forward to this tonight.
100%, mate. And big shout out as well to our show sponsor, Sharna. You're fancying a bit of their gear, their clothes, t-shirts, hoodies, beanie hats, whatever, 10% off in the description below. I've got a few of the summer range. Was wearing the pink one recently. It's great. I love it. Get on to it
Nice.
if you want to. And also we were talking today about obviously the Super Six, and I don't have the scores of it because I've been locked out of my account for some reason, probably trying too many times to get into it. But we've kind of come up with the idea we're going to give away a gift, probably a wee giveaway from Sharna, and then a bespoke gift from the Endless Celts podcast to
Myself, to be fair,
anyone who comes second, because Francis is well ahead in the lead, a bit like us in the Scottish Premier League. Paul Dad already giving you compliments, Willie, on your wall. Your t-shirts, your kits on the wall, they're absolutely
Thanks,
immense,
mate.
mate. Unbelievable.
They're all my original kits that I got. Like, there's ones up there that I got when I was like 11, 12-year-old and stuff like that. So it's in there in the bar. I'm sitting down. I usually sit up the other end, but I've brought the table down here for Sunday. It's easier for all the boys to see the game, and I've just not put it back. Totally forgot about it. And I came in the day and I was like, shit, I'll just say to sit down here.
Nah, it looks smashing. I mean, Anthony always bangs on about doing a best kit special. We can just basically pick it off your wall and just go from 1 to 10.
I've
But
got this here,
Charles
Stephen,
Smith,
mate, just to
go ahead.
jumped into the Super Six. So Franny's running away with it, but he's getting hee-haw. So second now is Stephen Coulthard with 435 points. And then it's
Decent.
Mark Robertson on 421, Jamie Latimer on 415, James Bowie 406, and Kevin Hampsey in 402. So I think they've all probably in with a shout at getting it, but aye.
Yeah, we all know Franny's in cahoots with Sky, like 100%. The guy's a machine at this game. Charles Smith, 2 in a row. Here we go. And we'll cast our mind back. Willie, a week ago, playing in a high-pressured game, the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. I mean, to be fair, you haven't had a chance to speak to it. Obviously, the lads and all did it on Monday with Ross McCall and Ross and Franny did a great job hosting that episode as well. But what was your thoughts on the game? The atmosphere in Grace's bar, your very own bar, looked amazing from the videos I seen. Have to admit, we bit jealous, lads. We bit jealous, but hopefully get over soon.
Yeah,
and how did you feel about it? And what was your summary of the game?
I mean, again, I don't think we were at our best, but I don't think there was any point I was really, other than Sakala's miss. Even when Kent hit the post, I was never afraid we wouldn't get the result. I just thought, I think we've got something over this team at the moment, and I just think we're unbeatable against them. It doesn't matter what they do, what they throw at us. I just think we're always going to come back, even when we're not at our best. We're winning the games, and I just think it was there. It was ours to lose, and it was an interesting performance because what this team and this whole season's been all about the attacking flair, and it was second half. It was much more about the defensive performance, and I thought the guys at the back were excellent. CCV, how you can be carrying an injury that you need surgery for, and you go out in the biggest game of the season and get man of the match. The boy's just an absolute Superman.
He's an absolute machine. But people get sick and take 2 days off work because they can't handle it. Michael McDonald, he wants to know, Willie. I mean, this seems to be a common theme. Where's the guitar this evening?
It's in the house.
Ross comes in. It was a full flow. I've seen the videos and Franny's comment, which he said twice, but we won't go into that one. It was just funny to hear him say it. But you spoke about the defensive side of things, but I want to talk about one other guy first before we come on to Vickers. He was like Iron Man, but Felipe Yada, Willie, just a man who spends his weekdays in the brazen head knife for photo shoots in the old Bumblebee top, rocks up to Hampden, takes advantage of them stopping, does it in the end with a fantastic ball. And Ross McCall actually said it on the podcast. I never actually appreciated how good that cross was because the way his body's turning, basically just with it, the momentum, you would 9 times out of 10 expect me to fucking fire that out of the pitch, but he picked a fantastic ball, and Jota was running. Tavernier was caught. I think Olsen was caught, and he does put the header past McGregor. Absolute sensational.
This guy is just everything we love in a thanks, Bam. Everything we love in a player. He's totally bought into the club and the culture. Seeing him in the Brazen Head with the bumblebee strip, and also I put it in the chat, and then I put it on my Twitter as well, and it's like just give him $100,000 a week and give him a 10-year deal just to keep him, because I just affinity he's got with the club and the fans, and when we started this podcast we were kind of in dire straits, and one of the biggest things we talked about was the disconnect between the fans and the club and the board at that time. Now Ange has obviously brought that back in abundance, but not without the likes of Jota, who's bought into absolutely everything. Every time you see him on social media, he's in a cafe or a bar or somewhere with some Celtic fan taking photos. And even when he was only on loan and hadn't signed permanently, he was wearing the top over in New York, playing 5-a-sides with Celtic fans, and it's just like not just all that stuff away for the game. What he's doing on the pitch as well, it's just absolutely magic. The song that's been living in my head rent free all season. Just everything about the relationship is just absolutely magic at the moment. But the goal, he popped up in the right place. Maeda was absolutely fabulous. Playing on the right wing with his bad foot, obviously, Stephen.
Listen, man. See when he done that, I actually thought to myself after, Willie's fucking going to come for me here. Like, you banged on about. But to be fair to you, if he can do that on the right hand side on a consistent basis, then I'd be up for him doing that, like 100%.
I love him on the left hand side. I think he's absolutely superb. But it was just your argument with you prefer Jota on the left, and I just at the time I was like, I don't understand why Maeda can't play on the right. I don't know why he's like your number one left when he can do both. But I mean, you see all the stills where the foul's been made and where Maeda is and where, the whole Sevco defence is, and to look at that still and think that Maeda got to that ball first and then got the cross in. It just epitomised everything that Ange talks about with "we never stop." They all stopped thinking it was going to be a foul. We didn't, and that ended up being what won the match. Fabulous, and we're on our way to the Scottish Cup final. It's just magic.
I tell you what, I'd be quite concerned if Jota lived where I live. It's knowing how he buys into things. I'd be a wee bit. Where are you going, mate? No,
yeah,
you see him.
I love
flags
him,
behind on that.
If I seen him, I'd just winch him.
But you ever like not that obviously compared to the other side? Obviously, we don't look over our neighbour's fence, so to speak. Postecoglou saying that, but if you think back through the years, like Vladimir Weiss bought into Rangers, but he bought into it in a way where it was borderline like madness at points, and then all that WATP, all that shit being read after every Instagram post. But Jota's a wee bit. Why would you? He knows what he's doing, in my opinion. Like celebration wise, and when you see his Instagram post, his wee captions always mean something. And for a guy to come in to the club from Benfica, another big historic club in Portugal, came to us, obviously a big club throughout the world, and just to buy into the history and go to the Brazen Head and get a copy of Gary O given to him, like that's like is he going home? Do you think he's putting that on? Like, do you think he's sitting going, oh my God, I like all these tunes, like, but and I seen a picture of him. Was it from yesterday? Him, Yuki Kobayashi. I think it was Matt O'Reilly and some other person were out having dinner together, and that bodes well for me for the team. It brings me back to the likes of Ayer, Stuart Armstrong, and when everything was going well, they were good out with each other all the time, and surely that's positive going forward. Like,
absolutely, I think you can see it in the team, the way they play. They're collective. They're there to fight for each other. I seen another one just before I came on tonight, and it was another photo opportunity with Jota in some restaurant, and he was with O and Rocco Vata. So it's like throughout the whole team.
I think that's the one I'm talking about.
Is it?
Kobayashi, I don't know.
It's magic to see. It's like, obviously the team just the boys all love each other, and it's shown on the pitch. The collectiveness, and that's the manager that's brought that to fruition. And I think I texted during the week, and I think it was when it was like my come down for the weekend, because I was a bit rough, a bit worse for wear on Monday. But I think I text you guys, and I was like, sometimes I sit and it's quite emotional in a way. But you're like, I can't believe we've got this team and this manager at this moment in time. It's just absolutely magic. The football we're playing is electric, and it's just what a wonderful time it is to be a Celtic fan.
It's incredible. And there's before we go on the more Celtic chat, Patrick McLaughlin. Anyone seen the Queen's Park equaliser earlier on? I
What's
had
the
it on
score?
there still. It's 2 each after
Is it?
29 minutes. Aye. So winner takes all in this fixture. I think
Right.
Dundee can get a draw and still go up. But Phil McGinley, Adidas, get your finger out and get us a Bumblebee themed away kit. Did they not see Jada rocking that retro shirt? See, to be fair, you put Jada in a bin bag, he'd look
I
cool.
know.
Like, do you know what I mean? He's just that type of. He has that grace. He has that air about him. But see, in terms of left wingers, he has 25 goal contributions, both assists and goals throughout this season. Is he better than a fit and firing? Not Lee Griffiths, like before anyone says anything, but a fit and firing Scott Sinclair in his pomp for Celtic.
Oh, I don't know about that. That's tough. I think I think they're different players, to be fair. But I think if you're talking about like just statistics when it comes to just goals, I think Scott Sinclair obviously edges. Like, he was an absolute. He was scary when he first came in.
Yeah.
The all-round play, I don't know. Jota's just
you caught really off guard that one though.
Yeah, aye. Didn't see that coming.
I think personally for me, like you said, they're not the same. I think they're quite similar. They come off the left, they attack, they cut in, hitting shots, very skillful. Scott Sinclair, 25 goals in one season is incredible. I think it was his first season he done that in the Invincible season under Rodgers, but maybe season and a half in he was starting to dip in form. But what I like about Jada, he seems to be getting better.
Aye.
More consistent, more like he can play multiple positions as well. And I think that for me gives him the edge. And I know like it's two big players throughout the last 12 years you're talking about here. I mean, Sinclair had a fantastic affinity with the fans as well. And Jada, for me, took that to a new level.
I think Sinclair would be electric on this side. I think he'd score goals for fun.
He would. It's just the positions the team gets in on multiple occasions. Like, but another one from the lineup. What did you think about Rio Watate? I just thought for me he looked gassed.
I think he looked
after
exactly
20 minutes.
how I was expecting it. I think I was speaking to Ross about it before the game, before kickoff. And I said beforehand, the week before, I said even if he's 40% or 50% fit, you've got to play him. But he looked exactly that. He looked like he was just needing to come back to fitness, and I'm his biggest fan. But at halftime, I was like, yeah, I think we need to make a change here. I don't think he's up to speed at the moment. But I mean, for me, he's up there for best player of the whole year. I think he's been absolutely electric for us. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was me and Ross had a discussion on the Friday podcast. I'm not saying I called it, like, I'm not bringing it back to say that, but I did say that he shouldn't play apart from the start. I thought that about Moy too, but we know the impact that Atate can offer. We've all seen that, and the throw him into that game, it's Ange, he calls it, do you know what I mean? And won the game in the end. But like, you look at the aftermath, people are speaking about the Napoli Serie A victory last night and the celebrations. We've seen quite the opposite from the supporters across the road. I think Rangers as a club have lost their managing director of football, their chief academy, a host of people from the boardroom. They're calling it upgrades for the future, getting these replacements in. I call it cost cutting. They're not quite banning that, but what are you making of the meltdown you're seeing? I mean, do you ever see the wee infiltrators and the follow pages and they put up the tweets and it's like, I wish we didn't exist so it didn't have to go through this, blah blah blah. Can artificial intelligence help us scout players?
I seen that one. That was
madness.
I seen that one. They were actually saying, if I read it right, it was like they want artificial intelligence to play. They want robots to play for them. It's laughable. It has been a complete meltdown. But I mean, I can't see it changing anytime soon. I just think this. I seen Angie's presser today, and he said he said the team at this moment in time is stronger than it was 12 months ago. And I totally agree with him. And I just think we're going to get stronger and stronger. And Beale keeps rapping on about how he needs 5 signings. He needs to do what Ange did when he first came in it and have a complete overhaul if he's got any chance of getting anywhere near us. And we always talk about with the 10, we should have had the foot on the neck and been relentless. And I don't think Ange will be letting anything like that happen. If anybody's relentless and won't give up, it's going to be him. So, but I mean, Rangers have already made the best signing of the season. Gordon Ramsay's having a restaurant in the stadium, isn't he?
So the only shy thing about that is, right,
That's a signing.
I've been watching Hell's Kitchen, the new series, like relentlessly, catching up, and see when he done it, and like it come up on their thing. I was like, I'm not watching it. Fuck that.
He played with him.
I know. To be fair, I like Gordon Ramsay's shows. Obviously, we know he's a blue nose, like, but I mean, is he getting paid for this? Is it a part? I don't know what's going on, but a restaurant, who gives a shit? To be fair, like, and there's more. They might bring him on. He plays the charity games. He might be there. Maybe revealed as a new signing.
It's just the timing of it all. Like their club at the moment on the field is in as bad a state as it has been in recent times. And then, like you say, there's been meltdowns all over social media for the fans. And the next thing they do is announce Gordon Ramsay's got a restaurant.
Wonder if they'll add Michelin stars to their badge. Cracker. But I mean, they come to the comments here as well. Patrick McLaughlin, he needs a starting 11 and he needs a decent backup going along with that. Phil McGinley, all well and good. Motormouth Bill harping on about 4 to 5 signings. He's saying that under the assumption we don't make any moves. Doubt that'll be any case. And see, to be fair, you've seen the likes of Barry Ferguson making a big U-turn this week when he was saying beforehand. I mean, he said about Van Bronckhorst had the Postecoglou's page marked. Bill came in, apparently closed the gap. He needs 2 to 3 players. Now he needs upwards of 10. Do you know what I mean? Make up your mind on that. Like, and I just, for me, it's like, we look at the 10 season, fair enough, right? It's a blip. But the fact that we're going for 5 trebles in 7 years is absolutely insane. And we can make it 8. It's a world record as well. And you mentioned, obviously, Postecoglou won't slow down and won't rest on our laurels. And previous regimes probably would have stood still under these circumstances and probably wouldn't have strengthened the squad, but I don't think Postecoglou's that type of man. But you mentioned the psychological edge we have over Rangers at the minute. We also seen the youth team smash them up 6-5, albeit defensive side of things, there was 0 to no defence in both teams, but a few cracking players. So they've won the Youth Cup, the Scottish Cup. We're winning the treble. Is this like, I don't know, like for me anyway, a bit naive to it, but is this how it was Rangers were back in the 90s type thing? They would have that psychological edge over us? Or do you think it's more like fucking...
Yeah, I think back then we were competing, but I mean, for me anyway, my memories, it was like Andy Gorham just broke our hearts over and over and over again. But we had a good side and we were competing at times. I don't think this Rangers side are a good side. And I think they had a couple of weird runs of fun. That Ramsay's restaurant. I think they had a couple of wee runs and forms that kind of papered over the cracks. But I honestly, I mean, you've seen the stats yourself. I've seen them this week. That Kent and Morelos, the 2 superstars combined against Celtic, I've got like 8 goal contributions between them in the past however many years. And Jota and Kyogo have already got 8 in the past this season alone. I think stats like that tell the story themselves. And this whole, first of all, they're talking, Beale keeps banging on 4 or 5 players I need. No, you need a hell of a lot more than that. But that's you just competing with this team. Do you think Ange is going to sit with his thumb up his ass this summer? No, he's going to get even stronger. So I think it's a bit disrespectful to say what they're saying. And I mean, Beale needs to take the flak himself because all he's done is yap the gums ever since he's come into the league in the country and talked about how it's a separate league since I've came in, and we're actually, well, you're well behind in the league now that you're talking about both leagues, and you're out every cup. So if you're going to flap the gums, then you need to take the criticism that comes back your way, and it's a scary thought for him. I mean, you touched on it. I think I don't know if it was on the podcast or the group chat, but I remember you saying that if they have not a great start to next season, then he's on a sugary peg as well.
Oh yeah, 100% he is.
And Ange, like I said, Ange is relentless. He will never take the foot off the pedal. If he's got his foot on your neck, he's not taking it off. He's keeping you down. And I honestly think we're just going to get stronger and stronger. And I can't see how you can compete with this side domestically. I just can't see.
Domestically, we're far and above the rest. It's easy to see. Francis comes in. Bill likes to take credit for being part of the team that stopped the 10. But when they are struggling, this current crop, most are still the same players, aren't his players. And see, that's another thing. That argument doesn't stack up because you look at the impact Barry Robson had at Aberdeen. The same players Jim Goodwin had, and he's been on an 8-game unbeaten run, where Beale's coming in, making the excuses already for him to fail. And like you said, 4 to 5 players, I don't even think competing with this team because we're streets ahead, and we're going to make 3 or 4 quality additions in the summer to boost us as well. So it's going to be, it's like we spoke about it before, it's going to be like the Bundesliga effect. Dortmund win it one season, but Bayern dominate the rest of them. I think that's the way it's going to go for the future. And if they don't want to get on board with that, that's fine. If they don't want their club to exist because they don't want to go through the pain, that's fine. I'm more than happy to see their club go down the drain again. But final word on Beale. Realistically, if he goes and if this project fails, they're at least 3 to 4 years behind us. Like,
I think they are. I think they are at this moment in time now. I think they're. I think it's going to take. It's going to take a hell of a lot of money. They've not got many assets either. That's the thing. So they're not going to make money. They've not got like a Bassi that they can sell for stupid money. Kent, I think, as far as I'm aware, they've not. The contracts of Kent and Morelos are just about up as well. So you're not demanding fees for that. If we've got two teams worth assets. If any of your guys are going, they're going for crazy money, and I would trust Ange to replace them as he has done. In some cases, he's improved with the replacements. I just think we're streaks ahead at the moment. I think squad wise, ability wise, and it's a non-contest between two managers, I'm afraid.
It's a non-contest, and see what fucking annoys me when you hear in the Fireplace sports room, whatever it was, they're like, Bill knows what he's doing. Bill's an experienced manager. Bill is not experienced. I've managed more in Football Manager than he's managed in his life. Do you know what I mean? Like he's run about living off and like a good start with QPR. That fell off, and their fans actually said, most of them said they were glad he left, and I think Rangers are starting to bear fruits of that downfall. But coming to the comments as well, Ross, Anne's net spend 3 million odd, 4 trophies. Gerrard and Bill net spend, he corrected, they're 30 odd, 1 trophy from 12. Lucky Anne's, I know.
Exactly.
I think Sanfran Celtic is talking about the confirmed relationship of Starfelt and Decanta. Anthony Dunn, they've got a few assets, to be fair, Willie. Problem is they're all frozen. Sanfran Celtic, be nice if Ralston cinched the league, 100%. We'll come on to the defence side of things again, and you mentioned Carter-Vickers when you were giving the summary of your game. I think at one point in the game he was lying down holding his knee. 2 seconds later he's up banging a ball away with a head. He has been absolutely just incredible as a defender for Celtic in his 2 years now.
Absolutely colossal. That performance on Sunday was, and then what amazed me even more was just right after the game, Ange says, that's his last game for the season. He's been needing surgery, and he wanted to play this game. And I'm like, how do you put in a performance like that when you're needing surgery? It's not like I've got a tight hamstring. You need surgery to go out there. He threw himself in front of everything. He's just an absolute colossus. He's got pace, the strength. He's an absolute unit. I know the Player of the Year stuff's been coming about recently, and there's been a lot of talk about CCV being and I was always more like the Hatates or Jotas or Kyogos, but I mean, this guy, I feel like, and I've said it before, I feel like there's certain players in the team, even though I think Hatate's probably our best player, Calmac, but Hatate's been missing for the side, and we've not missed him majorly. I think if CCV comes out this side, we miss him majorly, and I think that speaks volumes of what he's done and how his performances have been. But Sunday was, I still can't get my head around. It's the biggest. It's the biggest. It was effectively our biggest game of the season, and this guy turns up needing surgery and puts a man of the match performance in it. Honestly, it's just the boy's just an absolute colossus.
It's not even that. It's what I loved about it as well. It felt a bit old-fashioned in the sense where the player decided if he wanted to play or not, and not like the sports science deciding it's too risky. Yep. He took that chance upon himself, and he understood the risk. And
yep.
he was playing in game.
He's listened to his player as well, because he could have easily said, "No, you're not playing," but he's went, "Listen, if you feel you're fit enough to play, I'll play you."
Yeah, 100%. Hoops boy comes in here, went to Turkey and come back later, and I'm not talking about your teeth. But to be fair, like with Carter-Vickers, I think it was Pam, nice to have you on, Pam, was saying about Paul McGrath. And I've heard a lot of people saying that he was an excellent defender. Miranda tells me and stuff, but I haven't really seen him, don't have much knowledge of him. But she said that he reminded of the performance in one of the Euro competitions against Italy when he was injured, throwing himself on the line and stuff. And Carter-Vickers for me is very like just fucking Iron Man. Like he gets on with it. He can remember the game where he held two people off at the same time, and he managed to come away with the ball. And it's like, how did he not get a chance at Spurs? And they're absolutely fucking, they're dire. For me, he's better than Davinson Sanchez. I think he's woeful. I think, like, for me, we've talked about the Van Dijk thing. There's no point going over old ground there, but the impact he's had is far greater than he had in Celtic. And I just think, for me, I hope in my heart that he stays for years and we build that spine of the team around him, because he looks like he's settled. He's been around clubs in England, I think loaned out 13 times in his short career. I think he's only 24, 25, and it's just incredible that we're getting the prime of his career. He's a USA international now. And I mean, we have to mention Starfelt in that. I mean, the impact they've had together, unbeaten in the domestic competitions, I believe, league included, over 38 games now. That's a mental stat. That's like, where do you see that sort of stuff?
I know, it's incredible that they've built a really, really good partnership, and they work well together. But CCV, he's not just a unit that throws players about. He's so good. He's very good technically with the ball at his feet and driving forward and starting attacks as well. They definitely work well together. It's a very good partnership, and if we're strengthening in summer, it's going to take a proper player to break that partnership up, certainly. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm coming to the comments. By the way, it is 3 each.
Is it
46 minutes gone so far? Not half time yet. So that's a crack.
Like the Youth Cup.
No defence in sight. Commented here as well in the comments again. He had injury problems, had to be managed properly, 100%. Alistair Dack, evening at and Dack, good to have you along. San Fran Celtic, Cameron Carter McGrath. Ross Muir agrees with that. And I mean, because we noted the Spurs fans that are rate CCV, they couldn't wait to get rid of him. I think he played one of their games in the FA Cup and they got beat, but you can't really judge someone on one game. He needs a run of games. AJSC Tech. CCV served a very long apprenticeship with many clubs at a young age. He is surely a guy, so maybe he couldn't bond with people, but Hans loved him, 100%. I mean, Alistair Jack, just to explain this, I've been getting this all day, right? We're 8:30. We're 8:30 on a Monday now, and we're 8 o'clock on a Friday. So the only change throughout the schedule is 8:30 on a Monday. We start at 8 p.m. on a Friday, normal time. But let's talk about some of the old centre half pairings, and we'll see where you think, and I think too, where they rate. So we're talking about these guys, Carter-Vickers and Starfelt. Look at that, Nisbet trying to get in there. No chance at all. Where do these two compare with Steve McManus and Gary Caldwell? In terms of, obviously, Gary Caldwell, Steve McManus were in the last 16 in the Champions League twice, played probably in a very below average compared to the team now. Gordon Strachan team, very different era of football. But what's your opinion on that one? Where would you have them against Caldwell
you doing to me,
McManus. Are
mate?
you laughing because that's a joke? Or are you laughing because you
I'm
don't know?
laughing because I'm like, what you doing to me? But I feel like it's difficult to compare the two. I don't think that. I really like the pairing of Caldwell and McManus. Maybe because McManus I loved McManus because he's one of our own as usual. I love the guys that come through. And you're right, they did it in a weaker side, a much weaker side.
Fuck, some hate coming here. Look at this. Caldwell was a terrible player.
Jeez, listen, these guys did it in one of the weakest sides we've had in recent memory, and they got us to the last 16. So they can't be that bad. Saying that, they both definitely had a mistake in them. Neither are as good technically as CCV. And I didn't see them going 38 games unbeaten in leagues. So I think if you had to push, then I think just seen what Friday said there. I mean, this partnership is special. Yeah.
He's a dickhead because he knows exactly what I would reply to him. He did that in the chat. You're a fucking arsehole. But in terms of it, Billy Big Balls. But I think like you have to look and you have to appreciate Caldwell McManus because, as we discussed, they're a very average team. More of a workman-like team, more of a Scottish core to it. Getting to the last 16 in the Champions League. Now, don't get me wrong, Caldwell thought he was Beckenbauer when he got one crossfield pass perfect. He tried it every game. I remember him in his white Adidas Predator boots all the time. And McManus, I used to call him Captain Clap Clap because that's all he used to do all the time was just clap. There was nothing else coming from him. But I just thought, looking at it, I mean, it's might not compare. That's fair enough, but you have to appreciate what they give you. Carter-Vickers and Starfelt and the domestic front have been excellent. My only question mark, like you said, Willie, would be European level, and it was just unfortunate. Do you think we would have picked up more points if they got a chance to play together in Europe this season?
I don't know. Not necessarily, because I think the reason we failed in Europe this season is because we weren't clinical enough going forward. I don't think we were horrendous defensively, to be fair. And we done more than enough to win the games, but I think it was because of lack of their finishing and we were not clinical enough. So I wouldn't pinpoint our defence and have them to blame or have a go at them. I think it was more the guys, the creative and getting forward that I would say was lacking in Europe this season.
Yeah, 100%. So we're in agreement that Vickers and Starfelt so far are above McManus and Caldwell then?
Aye. I'd stick CCV in with McManus out of the four.
No, really? Would you? Would you drop Starfelt?
I would, because I think that they're similar because it's that aerial prowess and their strength and CCV's kind of a bit like the Ferdinand and Vidic. Vidic was just the big machine that just put his head in front of everything, and Rio was the technical player. I think that's similar with Starfelt and CCV, and I think that McManus could slot into that same role where it's just I'll stick my head in front of everything that Starfelt does.
That's surprising. That's real. You threw me off there big time. I mean, I think AJ's SC Tech again comes in and said Kobayashi will be a very good talent. He reckons he's going to go for 30 million plus, and Hoops Boy agrees with you. McManus and Carter-Vickers would be a good pairing. Just quite surprising. I don't know if for me I could drop Starfelt or Carter-Vickers from that. Because I look at it and I think they're a partnership for a reason. They work really well together. Alistair Jack put the drink down. Well, he's picked it up actually. Alistair, he's picked it up. But I mean, right. So out of the four, you would go Carter-Vickers and McManus. That's fair enough.
I'm not liking the hate for McManus and Caldwell here. I think they did a decent job for us on a weak team.
I think as well. Hello, Granda. McManus probably gets underappreciated because he's came from the academy. He was there for years, and Ross alluded to the fact about Lenny. He wasn't called Leninino. Maybe that's a thing that people don't. They like a foreign name or someone we bought to make a bigger impact. And I think this is a good point. Dane Murray, I think he'll come back into it because he got a bad injury from the academy there as well. Ginger Media, Alistair Durden, how you doing? Andrew Durden, sorry. Alistair, what at the top of it? Hail, lads. I always like Baldy and Varga in central defence. Who do you think would work better with Carter-Vickers? We'll stay with that. That's a good question. Andrew, what do you think?
Out of they two? Or just
Aye,
in
so
general?
Baldy and Varga.
Yeah, they were both great. I think anybody could play again with CCV and look good, to be fair. I loved Baldy and loved Varga as well. They had, like, at that time we had great centre halves. I think that's why we probably played three at the back most of the time, because we had so many good centre halves.
Plums McNugget McManus was better than Starfelt. Don't talk shit. Well, I think
Listen, that's why I'm on this.
Don't talk shit.
I'm on this podcast to talk shit. It's my fucking job.
Right, I'll stick with what Willie said. He would go with Carter-Vickers and McManus out of all them four. Right. I'll bring up another partnership and we can debate this one. So we'll go with now. We'll have to think about this, probably what they could have achieved if they stayed together for a long time. Van Dijk and Jason Denayer. I mean, to be fair, they're both good players in their own right. Well, I mean, Van Dijk's obviously went on to win Champions League, win Premier Leagues, be the best defender in Europe and in the world possibly too. Taking that all out of it, we're speaking about Carter-Vickers having a bigger impact than him at Celtic. So Jason Denayer as well. I loved him while he played for us. I thought he was absolutely thought he was immense. But partnership wise, where are you veering in that one? Where are you veering? Sorry.
I thought that was a great partnership. It's so difficult to compare.
If you want to break them up again, break them up.
Well, I think it's pretty easy to pick two out of the six, isn't it? It's got to be Van Dijk and CCV. I mean, that partnership's a scary thought. But VVD and Denayer, I thought they were brilliant together. It was a shame. Denayer's kind of, as many do, thought he could go into loftier things and kind of went away, and he didn't hit the lofty heights that he maybe thought he did. But I thought he was excellent when he was with us in that partnership, and in particular, it was very, very good. Ross, Ross preferred Boyata.
We're going to come on to Boyata shortly. Denayer went on to, I think, the captain Lyon as well. He played in some big clubs like in European football. I liked it for the fact that you mentioned like McManus being the kind of, was it the Vidic and Carter-Vickers being the Ferdinand type thing in that scenario. I thought for me, Denayer, he could do everything. So good Virgil van Dijk, but we all knew we were going to lose Virgil van Dijk at one point because he was literally just so far ahead of any other player in the league. But for me, like, Denayer's one that got away. I really thought we should have tried better to keep a hold of him, and I know we had him on loan, but I just thought for me personally, I thought he would have been great.
What I like about him as well was he was, as far as I can remember, he was left-footed, and then a left-footed left centre half. So maybe that's why my McManus thought's coming in as well, because he was left-footed and decent left centre half. So, Denayer he was a decent talent. I must admit, I wasn't too disappointed that he did go, but
you can see the potential, though. Do you know what I mean? It was one of the things you could definitely see him. And playing for Belgium and stuff and World Cups now as well. So he's went on to do something in his career. Like, Van Dijk's obviously took that to a whole new level. But John Duncan, I always appreciate your comments, buddy. They're always left field. Caldwell McManus for my favourite. Dead set on the old school partnership. 100%.
Praise for the two of them instead of the
There has to be praise. I mean, the won 3 titles out of 4 was Strachan was there, didn't it? So there has to be praise. Like, it was a good run in the team. Right, another partnership. By the way, for people who's only joined, we're comparing Vickers and Starfelt with previous partnerships and centre back for Celtic. The next one is, let me see, Boyata and Ayer. Now, in Ross's mind, this may be simple, right? But in my mind, it's not, because I'll give you my take on it first, right?
Okay.
Christopher Ayer for me was an absolute Rolls Royce, unbelievable. The goal epitomised that at Aberdeen when he literally ran the whole length of the pitch and banged it in the top bin. Boyata, I had a strange love affair with Boyata. I thought he was a great defender. I know there's a few times that what was it? Then he got roasted, especially by Josh Windass when he played for Rangers. He seemed to hate playing him. But Mark Kearney, who was that good looking guy? Mark, I mean, it's in your name, buddy. It's fucking you. You're advertising yourself here. For me, I would drop Starfelt for R, 100%. Like, overall, we're probably still going with Vickers and Virgil van Dijk. That's fair enough. But what do you think about that? Ross is already in. Boyata was fucking pish. What do you think here?
I think that pairing for me, out of the four we've looked at so far, is probably the weakest pairing in my opinion.
Interesting. Like,
I liked Tyre, but I wasn't as blown away. I think he was actually, for me, he was more a number 6 playing in defence. I mean, you stuck him in the right back position, and he worked wonders there as well. But Boyata is not. I'm not as harsh on him as some of the others. Boyata, I didn't think he was a world beater, but I didn't think he was absolutely horrendous either. I would say that the four, that pairing is probably the weakest. Ayer as well. I'm not saying he wasn't terrible, but I wasn't, again, a world beater. I thought he was probably above average. But for me, he always seemed to be a number 6, a defensive midfielder playing in defence. That's the feeling I got. And I'm pretty sure actually when he joined the club, that's what he was.
We signed him as a number 6 from his club in Norway. Like, so you could see that in him. He was just an athlete. Like, he was an out and out athlete. The way he ran with the ball, he could take it and he could take players on. He played right back, remember, under Lenny. A few times he done quite well.
Against Aberdeen.
The Boyata hits in full flow here. Like, San Fran Celtic here. Boyata should never kicked another ball for us after the European carry on. That's the last of the partnerships, by the way. I know there's obviously, you can go further back, but just wanted to have a wee brief discussion about it. We discussed 4 partnerships overall. Willie, who would you go for to kind of summarise that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. CCV and Big Virgil. See, in saying that, by the way, I've got to hold my hands up. I've said it before. See, when Van Dijk was at Celtic, I know he was strolling it, but I used to always think that he felt he was better than he actually was. And then he went on to prove me very wrong. He's went on to be an absolute superstar. I thought he was going to be another one that would go to... Well, he went to Southampton. I thought he would go to Southampton and then just kind of fade away like the rest of them. But by God, he's... what a player he became.
Oh, incredible. I remember we had a couple of guests on, John Hearn, Patrick McNally, when they were in training. Obviously, young boys coming through the ranks. And they went up and they were training, and Van Dijk was a joke. They just said Van Dijk was absolutely immense. And good news, everybody. The special guest series is coming back. We'll have a few ex-players on, hopefully soon, just to be confirmed though. But we're bringing a lot of things back that we kind of let go, and it's going to be great coming over the summer, not Willie. And big changes ahead, eh? Big changes.
Yeah.
But we'll move on from that. We'll talk about the injury that Carter-Vickers had, and he's been under the knife now. That Postecoglou confirmed he'll be back, hopefully fresh and ready for the start of the new season. But obviously missing a huge chunk of training in there, pre-season games, friendlies, and all that type of stuff. Do you think Celtic might dip their toes in for a wee bit of cover, just in case the worst case scenario happens for the Champions League?
Yeah, I think we could be doing with one more, to be fair. I really, really, really like the look of Kobayashi. I think he looks a proper player. I know we did a podcast before, and there was a lot of people saying in the comments that they think he'll be challenging Starfelt for that other position. And on the performances I've seen from him, I wouldn't disagree. I think he's looked really assured whenever he's came into the side. Another excellent addition, and I think he's a similar ilk to CCV in the fact that he does look like he likes to bring the ball from out the back. Looks very good technically. And that last game he played in, I can't remember who it was. Kilmarnock, was it recently? He looked so assured. Yep. There were certain moments where he was put under pressure and he never flapped. And that's my I think Starfelt's been absolutely superb for us this season. I just think that sometimes when he gets put under pressure, it's like the ball's a hot potato, a hot tatty, and he wants to get rid of it, and he's just he's not got that assurance, and it fucking gives me the fear sometimes. That's my only qualm with him. And I've not seen that for Kobayashi, so I'd be looking to. I'm excited to see what he can bring. But yeah, I think other than that, what have we got? Welsh and Dane Murray, like we said.
Bosun Lawwell as well.
Bosun, and I know that there's been plenty of debate in our group chat about Uragidi as well. So, but yeah, I think I'd probably be
left field.
Probably be looking for us to get somebody else in the summer at centre half. Yeah.
I mean, I know Greg Taylor said in an interview there about the possibility of Starfelt playing in his favourite position, and he also said that Kobayashi's frightening. He's good in training, and he can take the ball, and he can start them attacks. And it's good to see Greg Taylor come out and say that sort of thing. I mean, that's what the fans are thinking, so he can see that as well. It's not doubting in Starfelt's or Vicker's ability to play with the ball, but Kobayashi, for me, technical ability, far better than the two of them, to be honest. But just a quick one. There's 49 live at the moment. We appreciate it. If you want to hit the thumbs up, get us up to 49 out of 59 watching, that'll be great. Just to help the algorithm, help the channel grow. And I know we don't really say it, but do you know what I mean? We're getting on the bandwagon. Want to get a couple of subscribers in there, share us among friends, family, Celtic supporters clubs, whatever you want to do. We greatly appreciate it, and everyone who's joined us tonight. But with Kobayashi, I think Postecoglou, in my opinion, has loads of high hopes for him. Jens came in to fill a gap. So did Abelgard until we got Awada. They got chucked out the door right and quick when the scene they were coming in. Is the only worry for you, is it the depth at centre back? Uragidi, obviously, he's been alone, did well in Belgium, but I don't see a future for him. Stephen Welsh, there's lots of talk about him leaving. Clubs over in Italy, France, apparently looking at him. Toulouse was the last club. And then we Bosun Lawwell. So would you bring someone in to challenge for first choice, or would you bring someone in to kind of fill the void until Vickers is back fully fit?
I think that Ange doesn't think that way. I think he always he's always looking to improve. So it needs to be somebody that is going to challenge for the first team spot, just as Kobayashi has done, I believe. But that is a fear because everywhere in the pitch, that partnership itself, it looks like it's going to be really, really tough to break into. And I think it would be difficult to, unless they were told. But again, I don't think Ange does this. But it's going to be difficult to bring somebody in for them to feel like they're going to challenge for that first team spot, because that partnership, it doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. So if he is bringing in somebody, I think it could be another prospect like Kobayashi who's learning his trade. But yeah, it'll be a difficult one to break into. I honestly don't think. Aye, what's a fucking player, Alistair? He's fucking better than, who was it? Alistair was wanting us to sign all that other podcast. Duke. It's better than Duke, Alistair, right?
Better than Duke.
Fucking SPFL watch again.
Don't get me started. Do not get me started. You were saying about Kobayashi.
I think it's going to be really tough to break up that partnership. So if somebody was coming in, I think they would have them. It would possibly have to be a prospect, like Kobayashi. I don't think anybody's going to come straight in. But again, I don't think Ange thinks like that. I don't think he buys anybody with the thought of, he's my fourth choice centre half. I think he's like, I want to bring somebody in that's going to either push Starfelt and CCV on to be even better, or take one of their places. So it'll be interesting to see this summer. I know you said it the other day. I'm the same. I'm proper looking forward. I'm not looking forward to you firing every transfer rumour you see on Twitter into the group chat, but I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to do in the summer.
I only share information that I get from high up sources
so
in the Twitter sphere.
Like I said in the group chat, that fucking Davey, the single dad plumber, said that his auntie sister's cousin's a cleaner, and he heard Ange say he's got to sign this boy, and then that's it. It's the gospel truth.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I seen Chris Weiler in the pub and jumped to conclusions, so my hit rate's pretty low. Mark Kearney comes in. Carter-Vickers' injury is a blessing, as I think nobody buys him as your player. 100%, Mark. We spoke about that in the group chat as well. He's the absolute rock of our back four, and probably team that, yeah, 100%. Brian Mourier, just quickly, will Kobayashi eventually break up the favourite two?
like I said, I really like the look of him. I think he's I think he looks proper assured, and if he can, I mean, we've not seen. I've not seen enough of him, but when he has, I think he's his class. I really do, and I think if he gets more of a chance and keeps doing what he's doing, then I don't see why he couldn't take Starfelt's place.
I mean, to be fair,
if Duke signs for us, I'm retiring for the podcast industry.
Mate, do not lie. You'll have one of them shirts with Duke on the back of it up on the wall next season. 100%.
I'm not having it.
I mean, to be fair as well, I look at it from my point of view. Not being funny here, Willie, but I think we missed a boat in Ryan Porteous, to be honest. I think he could have come in and been in there to fill the void when Vickers was out. He was immense in that Scotland game that I watched. He was against Spain, wasn't it? Yep. He was an absolute warrior, like Vickers was for us in the weekend. But obviously, I don't see us pushing the boat out and signing a £8-9 million centre back just to fill Carter-Vickers the hole he leaves and for him to come back and take it again. I agree with you. I think it'll be a prospect type of stuff. But Postecoglou, what we know so far is if he sees a better fucking upgrade, he'll do it, no problem. Apart from McLaughlin, if you're going to miss CCV in any of the last 6 games, it will be at IPOX. That's the only game we can judge properly whether the other 2 at the back are going to be secure enough without Big Cameron. That's actually a great point.
Yeah, good point. Patrick, good point.
Kobe Ashley, Carter-Vickers, and AJ. I think that's in a back 3. That would be quite interesting. That would be interesting. But we'll move on from the defensive side of things, and obviously a lot of things are happening at Celtic at the minute. A lot of good news is coming out. We're winning trophies, we're winning games. The season ticket renewals are coming out. Postecoglou, we're all in. So hopefully that means he's all in and he's going to stay for a couple of years. But amongst the announcements was some funny videos about the Japan tours and the Korean tour and that type of stuff. And what's your opinion on these tours? I mean, we said about the Sydney Cup, it was glorified friendlies, but money makers, money coming through the bank at Celtic. It obviously go over to Korea and Japan. We're going to make tons of money with the players we have at the minute through the door. So was it a win-win situation for Celtic at this moment?
Absolutely. I think it's a no-brainer. We've obviously, with the players and the imports we brought in, the Asian market is something we've tapped into, and I think the fan base has grown tenfold because of that. So I think it was a no-brainer to get us over there to Japan and Korea and let the guys see the boys in action. Not only that, sort of a homecoming for the boys that have done so well for us in this team. I just think it's an absolute no-brainer. They've bought into our culture. You can see the team have kind of, from the videos, look like they're buying into the culture of the boys as well. I think the videos were absolutely magic. Bit of humour and
the fact that O called Postecoglou Angie, like what's going on there? Like that's
thank you, Angie. I was in bits. I was absolutely cackling out loud. I think they were magic, and I think the social media team deserve praise for that as well. But I think they showed you about how close knit this team is.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute no brainer to go in and on that tour and tap into this Asian market that we've kind of alluded to and broken into in the last couple of seasons. It'll be very big money making on that side of things for the club as well. But yeah. I think it's just like I said, no brainer. It's got to be done. But what the club did to announce it was, I think it's spot on. I think it's great.
I thought it was a new signing. I thought there was going to be a new signing coming. The video with Jana practicing the Japanese writing. The editors just looking at him like, you're an absolute weirdo. It was great. Like, and what I love as well, obviously the Japanese and Korean players, they're learning English. Java and stuff are trying to learn their national language. Do you know what I mean? I love that because that's a sign of a good team, and it's a sign of a bit of, do you know what I mean? A bit of togetherness, the group's together, and there's no one kind of not wanting out, so to speak, but there's no bad egg that wants to leave. Or
I think I mind did Jota not say it last season? How they were talking about his partnership with Kyogo and how he said, I remember getting interviewed and he says, "Yeah, I'm learning Japanese and he's
Yeah,
learning."
that
Yeah,
was
so it
last
just shows
season.
you. Last season. That's what I'm saying. So,
Mhm.
like we always say, we don't see that side of things either with players coming over, and a lot of these players are still young, coming over to a totally different culture, a totally different way of life. We just expect them to come in and hit the ground running and play magic football. That's not the case. These sort of things can affect you, and the fact that it looks like the whole club's chipping in and trying to, like you say on social media, you see every other night they're all out for dinner together. Like that was a trio. That was a trio. I said Rocco Vata,
So random.
And
Oh,
Jota.
and
You're
Jota,
like
yeah,
you can
so
understand
random.
a couple of the English guys and the Scottish guys being together, but it's a total, and I love it. And I listen, that's what I said it before. I'll say it again. It shows on the pitch. The teams just absolutely fight for each other and love each other. It's magic to see.
Yeah, 100%. Antonio comes in. Celtic realise they're a global club with global appeal. From what I understand, the Sydney Games earn more than us winning the league. That's good business. That's
No,
incredible that
absolutely.
a glorified friendly can earn us more than winning the SPFL
Yeah.
title. I mean, it's probably not surprisingly as well. Do you know what I mean? My granda, could I get my place in Celtic as a water boy? 100%. Let's talk about. We're talking about money. We're talking about tours here. Now, I shared it in the chat, but just bear with me while I go back and get it because Ross
Yep.
has wanted me to bring it up. It was in regards to the
Yeah, the
new
EFL
TV deal. Aye, that Sky have announced. So I'm just going to read it out here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Sky Sports has just signed a 5-year deal with the English Football League, not the Premier League, for close to £1 billion, right? It works out to be around 200 million a season for the likes of Leighton Orient and Cambridge. Last September, Scottish Football signed a deal with Sky Sports, projected to net our clubs a collective 30 million a season
Collective.
over 5 years until 2029. Basically goes on to finish here. We're such a fucking joke. It's embarrassing. Even
A
Swedish football
collective.
has a better TV deal than us. And I have to just say that was from you and Cameron on Twitter, not mine. So that's not going to claim that. But where do you think that? Surely there has to be a way we can market our game to be better than the League One, League Two of England.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking that includes the championship as well.
Yeah, obviously the championships
That's
and that. Yeah,
obviously, that's obviously what kind of the money spinner because it's a very competitive league as well. But the fact that if that is true, that Leighton Orient etc. are going to end up, what is it, 200 million or something, and our
hmm
whole league as a collective gets 30 million, and it's absolute craziness. And the games out with Celtic, I've watched games in the SPFL this season, and I don't care what anybody says, right? I know a lot of people say Scottish football is crap. It's no. I've watched plenty of Premiership, English Premier League games that have been absolute dross.
Oh, mate.
I think we've got a very, very good league. And you can't tell me that Leighton Orient Cambridge is a better game than Aberdeen Hibs, for example. That's a mess.
There's
I
going to
mean,
come a
that's the
point.
world we live in.
There's going to come a point, Willie, where Leighton Orient and Cambridge can offer more wages than Celtic. With income like that, that's a sad reality of football in England at the
Yep.
minute. It's
And not
money
just
oriented.
that,
I mean,
even the whole Champions League rebrand, and it's going to be in a couple of years. It's going to be this this whole league system instead of the group stages, and this is all to do with coefficients, and it's only to get more clubs. Instead of having the top four in England, it'll end up going to the top 5 or 6 in England get into this
yeah.
because they're expanding it and making it this league system. And it's not a group stage. Everything's to do with money and getting the bigger clubs. And it shouldn't be called the Champions League, in my opinion, because
Money league.
Champions, the leagues don't get right into it. They've got to go through fucking qualifiers and all the rest of it.
Joe Finley. I don't. Very, very good league. Step away from the. What's Turos? I don't
No,
have no idea what that is.
it is a good league. It is a good league.
Charles Smith, crazy cast just shows they don't give a shit
Yeah.
about teams up here. Langley's championship is competitive. I don't think the same club as what. But see, Ross, I'm more coming from the angle here where, like, I mean, that's a very good point. Obviously, funny, you know what I mean? But you look at if Cambridge, Leighton Orient, Bristol City, fucking Fleetwood are getting more money than Celtic, there's a question there because they're not even in the championship. It's madness. Joe Finley meant perps. Um,
All right.
I mean, I'm looking at this game now, obviously not paying attention to it, right? This is a championship decider. It's 4-3 to Dundee. What a game. Sold out, Stenhouse Muir Stadium. It looks incredible on TV, but we don't get nothing. So it's madness. If that happens, right? So obviously it's happened. They signed the fucking deal. What am I talking about? But where does it leave? Where does it leave clubs like ourselves? Clubs like, for example, fucking who else could you throw in there? Fucking Benfica, Portugal League, and if League One, League Two clubs are getting more money than big teams, like it's mental.
It's a scary thought. Where it's a scary thought where the Scottish football is going to be in 5-10 years time. Yeah. Yeah, it's a scary thought. Like I think we'll always be all right, as in Celtic, because our stature in the game. But for lesser clubs, it's a scary thought. Like, some of these leagues might not, but I mean, our SFA are our own worst enemy in that regards. We should be battering for more money, and not just that. I mean, the league setup itself is just a shambles.
Oh, yeah.
This the whole split and all the rest of it. They need to get a bigger league. I know I understand the thinking behind it, and I understand why they want more. They want more Glasgow Derby games each season, but there needs to be a bigger. There needs
It
to
took me
be
away.
more clubs in a bigger league and a bigger standard, and it just needs rebranded from top to bottom. But I mean, for me, it's not so much the Scottish game; it's the SFA that we need to blame for these sort of things. They're accepting. I mean, you see it in every day. You're seeing it just now with the wages and the nurses and all the rest of it, and they're striking against the government. There needs to be some sort of stand. It can't just be taking the minimum wage. To put it in other terms, it's just the SFA are just a shambles.
Aye, dinosaurs from top to bottom. I know we called the boardroom that at Celtic a few years ago, but literally the case now is incredible at the SFA. Pam, Scottish football is his own worst enemy. They should be negotiating for more money in TV deals, especially when you consider how well known Celtic and Glasgow derbies are worldwide.
Absolutely, Pam.
I also love the point that Martindale, I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, he's not mine to be fair, but he said he would sacrifice a big chunk of his budget to have an 18-team league.
Yeah, I seen that.
There's no issue for me why we can't do that. Joe Finley comes in. You watch any game not involving Celts or Rangers, it looks like Faldhouse United, even away games for Celts at rubber pitches. I don't agree with that, Joe. I really don't.
Love you, Joe, but I totally disagree.
I think there's some cracking games within the Scottish League, and yeah, I criticise it a lot, but I just want the product to get better. I think we all do. And just to kind of round it off, you and Cameron again, the more you read of the SPFL deal, it just gets worse. Under the terms of the new deal, Sky will be allowed to show 60 games per season from 24-25, up from 48 in return. The broadcaster is prepared to increase the payments to Scottish clubs from the current 25 to 30 million. So a 5 million increase. It's madness, man.
To be
split. Yeah. Absolute madness here. Let me see. Let's see here. Big Red. That one bit of football played. Cracking goals granted. The two youth teams the other night played amazing football. Shocking if that's coming up. Say if Celtic were to become 50-1, run clubs as a German model, we could be way more than we currently are. Yeah, I mean, there's different ways we could do it. I would love something, a bigger league just to start it off and see how it goes. But I think it would be, and then Plunge McNugget, how is increasing our league going to improve it? Well, I mean, there's clubs in the Championship, Plunge, that have better grounds than the current SPFL team. So I think overall, visually, already it would improve it. I mean, different teams. You have Rafe Rovers in there, Queen's Park, Dundee coming up. Just a difference about the Scottish League. It needs to be changed one way or another. It can't remain the same fucking indefinitely.
And the whole
what do you think about the big league thing? And the split as well, by the way.
For me, it's the split. They're obviously trying to get 4 derby games in the season to create more viewers and more money. But you're playing, and it's the whole logistics of it all. once the split's finished, you've played somebody away twice and at home once, and then how do you work it out? And I understand why the split's there, because one, they want an extra derby. Two, it's going to be very exciting this year for relegation. It's like they're all playing each other, and it's 3 or 4 cup finals for every team. Very exciting. But I mean, 7th place can end up with more points than 6. It should just, for me, it should just be a bigger league. You play everybody home and away, and whoever finishes top deserves to win the league. And that's it.
Yeah, 100%. But Michael McDonald, having got news for you, showing the Celtic fans singing about the coronation. I mean, say to be fair, like the coronation chicken sandwich, absolute shambles. See the money that's costing the taxpayer and stuff. It's incredible.
Don't get us started on that. We could be here.
Oh, mate, you'll have me here all day, all night, tomorrow, and the next day. Plus, McNugget, it's not going to make it any more competitive. But we'll have to try something. We'll have to try something in the near future. And obviously, we're speaking about...
See that again, though, as well. Sorry, mate. See that again as well. Fucking Farmers League. That English Premier League's meant to be the biggest league in the world. How many teams have won it in the last 5 or 6 years?
Aye, different teams.
2.
Yeah, 2. Yeah. 100%.
So how's that competitive?
Yeah, totally agree. Actually, never even thought about that. We're speaking about TV deals and schedules and payments and stuff. Scottish Cup final been moved, will it? From the usual 3 p.m. kickoff, just to accommodate the FA Cup, we've moved it to 5:30. I think for Inverness especially, that's absolutely shambolic. The travel they have to do up and down the country just to see this game, kids and all, families, just for the English football, it's an absolute joke. And there has to be a point where we go, no. It's always been 3 p.m. Why can't it stay 3 p.m.?
Yeah. It's just, again, just pushed over by the TV and the TV money, and this, like Sky control everything, or whoever it is that's doing it. They just control everything. I don't understand why it needs to be separate times. Put them both on at 3 o'clock. I'll watch the Scottish Cup final, and you can all watch the FA Cup final.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't need to watch both.
I don't think there's anyone going to the FA Cup wanting to watch the Scottish Cup anyway. So
I know
it's mad. It's absolutely nuts. Plus McNugget. So with Chelsea and Arsenal wouldn't win our league, that's not really. Again, it's not the argument we're given here. 100% not. Alistair Jack, disgrace. Andrew, my good friend Andrew, not Alistair, Andrew. The league split has always been a shambles to me. I get in terms of money, but you look at the table at the end of the season, the points tallies make it look embarrassing. Yeah, 100%, totally agree. But like Cons McNugget there's getting the wrong end of the stick of what we're saying. We're just looking for a competitive way to do that.
The thing is, if Chelsea and Arsenal were in our league and had the money that Hibs and Motherwell had, then they wouldn't win the fucking league. And if Hibs and Motherwell were in the English Premier League and they were getting billions of pounds every year, eventually they could compete as well. It's not about it's not about Hibs v Chelsea or Arsenal. The whole my point, and I hate the comment that Scotland's a farmers league because there's only 1 or 2 teams that are going to win it. My point was, well, in the English Premier League, which is meant to be the biggest, most competitive league in the world, since, I might be wrong, but since Leicester won it in 2016,
but Liverpool and
Man City are the only 2 that have won it. So how's that not a farmers league then? If in the past 6-7 years there's only 2 teams that have won it. That's my point. I'm not saying that our teams can compete with their teams. I'm talking about from the fact that it's a farmers league because it's only a two-horse race. Well, in my eyes, at this moment in time and in the recent memory, it's been the same in England. It's the same in Spain.
Yeah, 100%. And Big Red, I think, sums this up great. If it was Celtic v Sevco, do you think the police Scotland would allow this time? Nah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly it.
100%. Alistair Jack, EPL always ends up the 2-team race. Here's one from your friend Joe here. You can see the comments as well, obviously. How would everyone / the panel feel about a UK League Cup? Would you be, to test the waters, would you be interested in maybe the League Cup in England and the Scottish League Cup kind of merging together?
Yeah, I wouldn't be adverse to that. I think we've discussed this at length before when we talked about Super Leagues and Celtic moving out of, the Scottish leagues and going down south. And like for me, I'm a very patriotic man. I think that we're a Scottish team. We should be in a Scottish league. But we discussed that whether like a British League Cup or some sort of British Cup would lead the way. I wouldn't be adverse to that at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, it would certainly bring more money in to our leagues. But I mean, saying that, everybody's discussed it tonight. What are fucking? I mean, what are Stirling Albion going to do against Chelsea? You know what I mean? So
I think there'd be a cutoff point, Willie, like round 5 or something. The big teams come into it.
I think there is in the. I don't know what the cups are called now, the Petrofac or what it was before, but they're doing similar, aren't they? That's like the Irish teams are playing Scottish teams.
Yeah, the Trust Trophy, SPFL Trust Trophy.
So Man City should run. The only team to beat us this year, Paul, might have a chance.
Alistair Jack, Chelsea would not win our league. Lampard would fuck that as well. His record's abysmal. Palm, Linfield Free Rangers. That would be just a big loving. They had a few friendlies there a couple of years ago. But you made a great point. Like, I think that the SPFL, I think it's called the Trust Trophy. It's like Cliftonville, Ballymena, Coleraine, Linfield, Institute. They're playing teams like Stirling Albion, East Stirling, East Fife, Falkirk. Yeah. So it's being tested in a roundabout way. And I think they should maybe put out the trap with a whole kind of, like, I think it was John said that, the whole British Cup thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's something, there has to be an experiment down the line that has to improve the game somewhere.
I think there needs to be a balance, because I mean, for me, football's all about the history, and so there needs to be. You wouldn't want to lose too much of that, but I mean, some sort.
But what history would you lose from the Scottish League Cup and the English League Cup? Not really. I mean, let's be fair. Out of the three trophies on offer, is probably the lesser trophy. So
yeah, if
you merge them together, surely it would pique a bit of interest.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be adverse to it, yeah. And I mean, like for us especially, like for me as a Celtic fan, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see us going against some of the big teams. So I would definitely not be adverse to that. And I'd love for us to, if it brought a bit of money into our league as well, and then hopefully there's some decent results from the Scottish sides. It would kind of be a bit of a two fingers up to the English, and because they're not the only football nation that's on this God's green earth, and we get overlooked far too often. So,
and then again, come to you, Ross, in a second. Plunge Nugget, Dundee or Queen's Park are coming up next season. They're going to improve us. Now, that's not the way to look at things. I know we're disagreeing here a lot, Plunge, but I like it. Difference of opinion. But what I can tell you about Queen's Park is they went professional 3 or 4 years ago. They've appointed Owen Coyle, who was manager of Burnley, got them through to the Premier League. Celtic were interested at one time. They got the AZ Alkmaar Academy director to run their football department, director of football. They're owned by a big Celtic man, Willie Hoggy, or Hoggy, whatever way Scottish people pronounce it. They took Leanne Dempster from Hibs and made her the chief executive. They've got one of the best academies in Scotland. They've built themselves a new stadium, Lesser Hampden. They're a club on the up, and they're a club of ambition, and that's what I like to see, ambition in Scottish football. So
I would like to know, if Plunge McNugget was head of the SFA, what would you do to improve the game? We can only push with the clock we've got. It's not our fault there's not so like fans only turning out at other clubs to go to their stadiums. Unless there's a massive injection of money, the quality is not going to get majorly better. So what is it then? We can't just be going, oh well, it's shit because Dundee are pish and Stirling Albion are shite. Like, that's not how it works. There's teams in England that are shit as well, but they've got money ploughed into it.
100%. I mean, see, to be fair, like Ross comes in, I wouldn't want a British Cup as we'd still be in our current financial state and probably not be able to win that competition over some top teams in England. Wee bit of a lack of ambition from you, Ross, there. Didn't really expect that from you. Joe Finley, this is what I'd be thinking. We would in time, 100%. Ross comes back in. We'd compete better after being a permanent fixture. That's probably the end goal. We've all seen it before. We've talked about it. John Duncan, if you give the likes of Aberdeen, Hibs and Hearts the money, they give to the likes of Everton, Spurs and Brighton, they'd be massive clubs. 1,000,000%. I totally agree. Big Red, are we going to be able to defend the Coronation Cup? 100% on board with that. Plunge McNugget comes back in again. Are they going to challenge us or Skevco? It's not. It's like missing it. We're missing it. We're not linking here, Plunge. We're not linking at all. You know
Well,
what I mean? I think you know.
Burnley just went up the Championship. Are they going to make it better? Are they going to compete with Liverpool or Man City? It's not how it works, man.
No, 100% not. Willie, it's all down to coaching that money. Again,
I agree with that as well. But I mean, like the Scottish
point.
national side is booming at the moment because of that, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that's going to see a big influx in our in our youth in this nation. We see it all the time. Croatia, they've been flying in the national scene. The last few major tournaments, they're getting to semi-finals, finals, and their population is less than Scotland. And we've got and football is our nation's national sport, but it's different cultures. How many people have you spoke to? How many people have you played football with when you were younger that had an abundance of talent? They were going to do it, but they ended up hitting an age, going out drinking, trying to hump everything that moves. It's our culture. It's what happens. Unless that changes, if that wasn't our culture, we didn't hear drinking culture and we didn't hear all of that, our national team would be absolutely flying because the talent's out there. But it's just the culture of the country, unfortunately. None of us are going to change it. I wouldn't give up sitting in Gracie's with all my mates that I did on Sunday getting pissed watching the football.
you look at Pep Guardiola when Jack Wilshere was coming through the ranks of England and they were raving about him, and he said in Spain there's like 10 or 12 Jack Wilshere still being. And it's the difference of life, different way of living. Football. Remember Brendan Rodgers had that 24-hour athlete mentality. He brought that in. That's the way you have to be. 24 hours a day, you're a footballer, and that's the only way you can ever succeed. Paradise Podcast, Kaiser, as in, I would seek an SPFL app with all the games on charge. Every SPL fan £20 a month to watch their club and national squad. Take the money from that, invest in the league and grassroots football. That's a good point. To be fair, I like that.
We've always discussed all the apps. Whenever we touch on money and the rights and all that, we've always touched on, haven't we, about the clubs having to do something, and I like absolutely. I think most fans would definitely buy into that. Saying that, I mean, to play devil's advocate, the argument against that is there's a lot of clubs that can't fill half their stadium, and if you're offering that out, then are they going to even fill half the stadium?
I think from what Kaiser was saying is like an SPFL app where you distribute the money evenly. So if 100,000 Celtic fans subscribe to it, 90,000 Rangers fans, and then the rest dwindle in, that money still gets
I hear
distributed.
And I totally agree. But what I'm saying is, in devil's advocate, Kilmarnock have only got fucking 8,000 going to their games. Well, if you've got that 8,000 that I can pay the same amount to watch it in the house, are they going to just watch it in the house? It's not going to attract them out more. You know what I mean?
Do you know what baffles me? And you might be able to help me with this, right? I know we're going off a wee bit here, but it's Friday. We always do it.
That's what we do.
Martindale came out and said in his press conference that he was looking at Aberdeen selling 6,000 season tickets. Hearts were selling whatever, 10,000. Why does Livingston have a big stadium and only have 100 season ticket holders so far? Why did they have that infrastructure? Did they ever fill it without Celtic and Rangers coming to town? Why did they have it then?
I don't know. In fact, maybe when they first came up and they were booming, they had David Fernandez and all that. I think they were. But I mean, for that town, I mean, the Livy have surpassed their means and done. That's a fair point. And they've and I know he goes on about it a lot, but with their budget, Livy have worked wonders to do what they've done. They've just narrowly missed out of the top six twice in the last two seasons, and they give anybody their game on their day. So I mean, I don't understand it myself, but I mean, even when you're seeing the highlights of sports scene and they're playing, for example, a Hearts, or maybe not a Hearts, St. Johnson, all the stands are empty. Where's their fans? It's like, what's going on? I don't know how you can
promote that as a club. I mean, if I had a chance to revamp the league, the first thing I'm doing is taking Livingston out of it.
I can understand if there's like it's absolute shit week on week, but I think they're doing. Aye, well that was going to be my next point. They are most people from around here are Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Hibs fans rather than Livingston, so that's another reason. But it should still be coming out in their droves, considering that they're fairly successful. They're a decent side. They do well in the league most seasons. But I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's madness. And by the way, updating that game, 5-3 to Dundee. I think Queen's Park are going to have to settle for a wee playoff, but I still hope they get up. But it's just baffling. I mean, I look at Dingwall, for example, they kind of fill their stadium. I look at Tynecastle packed, Easter Road packed, and Rugby Park's the same, empty stands. McDermott Park, no, it pisses me off about McDermott Park, the multicoloured seats. I just don't understand it. It makes me feel sick. I just don't get it. I just don't get like yellow seats, red seats. It's like madness. You look at who else is in the league. You look at St Mirren. They've done a great job. Their supporter packing out their stadium every other week. And Motherwell, they have Romy Sachs and the fans that has grown. But Livingston just never ever seemed to make any inroads and any kind of inroads in new supporters. It's a wee bit bad for them. Like obviously, you're trying to improve the Scottish game. Hamilton Accies, fuck me. Sainsbury's in the background of their pitch. What is going on? Do you know what I mean? Like it's craziness. But we'll move on from that. Obviously, we all know it's a certain weekend in the calendar. Fucking for whatever you like to do, have a street party for Celtic, have a street party for a coronation chicken sandwich. But we're going to Tynecastle, Willie. Oof, what a place to go and win the league.
Seal the league, yeah, it's not bad to go to. Didn't think that over well. Putting back the announcement a day to then announce Tynecastle, like if you're not going to win it against the mob across the road, then the next best thing is to go into Tynecastle and win it in their backyard. I'm more than happy to do it there. But as Anne said, Hearts aren't going to give it to us. They're obviously had a decent result last week after Nielsen's left and Naismith is in charge. So I'm not expecting it to be easy, but I still think our team is just like. I honestly think it doesn't matter. We go into games, we could go 3-0 down after 20 minutes, and I would still be confident we're going to win.
Oh, I know you would.
This team is just electric.
I look at it. Here's one for you, right? Obviously, the split we were speaking about it. I think it's a bit of a shocking decision that we're not given the chance to win it in front of our own support for 2 weeks. For two games, we're away from home.
Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind they had it a certain way. There's no doubt in my mind they had us playing Sevco this weekend, and then Rangers dropped points and they were like, "Shit, we can't do this." And then there's a mad scramble. No doubt in my mind.
Bobby Madden was involved in that scramble. What did you make about his? Did you see the interview?
I'd send it to you. I was hoping to get bites and you going off your nut, but you didn't.
Because we all know he's a fucking blue nose. Like
it was laughable. Aye. My granddad used to take me when I was younger, but then I stopped doing that and I went to something and started running. I did, yeah. Yeah, fucking flip playing. Yoga.
Oh fuck! I mean, see to be fair, Joe Finlay comes in. Stephen and I compounded my point. I'm not really, to be fair, Joe. I'm just saying what we could improve. If Livingston had a fucking incentive for new fans to come in, maybe they could get that up and going. Big Red, get to the Brazen Head this weekend for the crowning of Ange Postecoglou, 100%. Let's see. Kaiser again, they could come out and play football. Yeah, I expect Hearts to come out and play. It's like I looked at that Bobby Madden thing and was like, right, first of all, he done the interview, right? And it looked so rehearsed. It was so rehearsed beyond belief.
It's like he had a speech prepared, didn't it?
Remember the old Neil Lennon interviews and Peter Lowell on the YouTube channels, all rehearsed, and Scott Brown, gun to the head. And he was like, deep breath now, Bobby. You know the question's coming. Are you or ever were you a Rangers supporter?
That's why I posted it. I posted it in a group chat because I was wanting to see you explode.
I think I seen it earlier, but I wasn't surprised, Willie.
Nah.
I'm not surprised. We all know the likes of Nick Walsh. We all know Bobby Madden. We know David Dixon. Fucking whoever you're putting in charge has an affinity. And what I fucking took a wee bit of anger with was the fact that he referenced the people who were calling him a Mason.
I know.
So that there's probably fucking substance to that as well. And I look at it like, could you imagine? Like, Like we're talking about leagues here, right? Could you imagine, for example, a big game down in England, Man City 3 Liverpool, right? This the day after Liverpool win it, for example. The referee of in charge of the said game retires, does an interview at the BBC, and he's like, I was a Manchester City supporter.
I know. It's laughable, isn't it? I just wish he was pushed
what do you
a bit
do,
more.
What do you do?
I wish the boy was like, well, how come you were seen in a Rangers supporters club bevying up then? It's like everything points to it. So like, just wish he was pushed more. But it's laughable. It's absolutely laughable. Like you said, if that was there down south, you wouldn't. There would be, by the way, and if there was, there would be an absolute. It would be everywhere. It'd be all over Sky Sports News. It'd be over every paper. It would be absolutely everywhere. That's mad. I've seen. And he's absolutely laughable. But all I've seen is that one wee snippet on social media. I've never seen it anywhere else. If that was it would be absolutely everywhere.
It's released on that BBC fucking Sports Sound podcast, whatever they do now, and it was laughable, mate. But but this is what I'm saying. What do you do about that? There's nothing. There's no accountability. You can't really go back now and look at the games he was in charge of. The Celtic 3 Rangers games. We've seen the pictures of John Beaton in Rangers supporters clubs. I think in one of their, like, really hear this, right? One of their live events that they host in Edmonton House or whatever it's called, they brought an ex-referee in as a guest. It's like, what the fuck?
I've been at like smokers and thingy talks where ex-referees have came out and said, yeah, I did support this club, and as soon as he went in for a tackle, I was like, there's a penalty right there. And so it's obviously it's hard. It's more difficult nowadays, but back then it's obviously it's definitely happened, and I think it's pretty clear that. But I don't even know what to say about it. It's absolutely laughable. Like even I can't believe his first words were, "Yeah, my granddad was a big Rangers fan, and he took me to the games." Like I would just be like, nah, it's all nonsense. And that's it. Cut it out.
Yeah. No, it's like he's almost trying to like give it a bit of credit and then take it away again. But in reality, what he's done is fuck up any credit he did have because he's just admitted he was a Rangers supporter.
Yeah, Kaiser in the comments has absolutely nailed it there. By the way, that was my first thought when I seen it.
Oh, the Prince Andrew thing.
I was like, Prince Andrew. Yeah. Oh, what are you talking about? Back against the wall. What? I don't sweat.
I don't sweat. 2 days later, he's sweating.
Bobby Madden. It was the exact same thing I thought. It was like he was back in the corner. He's like, yeah, I went with my granddad when I was younger, but it doesn't mean I support him.
The only time he's been to Paisley when his train passed through Gilmer Street. He put so much emphasis on him being a runner. I was like, why do you keep going back to that?
I know.
And any time he didn't run, he was at Paisley Park. No, you weren't, mate. How could you go from Razors to Paisley Park? Nah.
My granddad told me when I was younger, but I was more into the F1. I didn't like football. Shut up.
But I mean, what do you think about the Anthony Ralston getting another chance in the team? Are you expecting him? He came in, by the way, and I thought he did a really good job. And when he came on, I thought it would take him a while to get up to speed, but he was right on it. He was fucking tackling people. He put one in Todd Cantwell very early on. Is it good to see him back in? Obviously, Johnson's out for 4 weeks, but can you see him stake a case?
Oh, definitely. I love Ralston, and I love more what he said after the game. he kind of got asked about him and him coming back in, and he did exactly what everybody else in this team does, and said, "Oh yeah, it's great to be out there, but it's not about me. It was about the team and getting the result, and that's all that matters, and all the rest of it." And I'm like, "Yes, I just love you, mate." And I'm pretty sure he'll slot back in. He's been fantastic for us since Andrews came in. Great going forward, and like you say, just a hardy wee bastard in the tackle, and he showed that in abundance in the short time he came on. Johnson's going to be a massive loss. He's been absolutely tremendous for us since coming in. And a wee nod to him at the end, dancing with the fans with the moon boot on and the two crutches. Absolutely brilliant. He's another one like Joe that's absolutely bought into everything. All the social media stuff is brilliant to see for him. So, but no, no qualms. I've not got any worries at all about Ralston coming in. I feel like I don't even understand that. He's got the same sense of humor. Is that what you get your sense of humor for?
Did you not say what the Dalai Lama said to that wee boy?
Nah.
Suck my tongue.
I did see that. Aye. I did see that. Aye.
But what were you saying about Ralston?
No qualms about him coming in at all. I've got no worries. I know he'll do a fantastic job. So yeah, John, like I say, Johnson will be a big miss, but I'm sure Ralston will make sure that it's not as big a miss as we all anticipate.
Yeah, I mean, the same Cabana does Lynch. Todd Campbell was incredible. That guy's an absolute melter, by the way. He's seen the excuse culture that's built into that club. But yeah, Ralston coming back, I think for me, we looked at Juranovic, Ralston. We knew we had a steady option at second choice, and it's the same again. He's going to be there and do his job when he's asked of. But Johnson, I fell in love with him, and I'm going to miss him because I think he reminds me of the Belgian right back, Meunier. What's his name? Thomas fucking. Do you know who I'm on about?
Meunier or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Meunier. He reminds me so much of him.
He totally reminds me, and this is not ability wise. Everybody's got to jump in the comments and say, "What are you talking shite for?" But he reminds me so much of KT in the fact that he's such a hardy old school wing back, and he never shrugs a challenge. He's nowhere near the same quality. He's nowhere near as good going forward, but just his whole demeanour, and he never shucks a challenge or shucks a fight, and he's that old school, get stuck in. It really reminds me of KT, but just on the other side.
Yeah, 100%. Palm comes in. I've loved Johnson since his debut in the January Glasgow Derby. Yeah, he's been excellent for us. But let's go to the game itself. Score and lineup prediction, Willie. What you going with?
I think it'll be the same lineup as Sunday, barring obviously it'll be Ralston at right back and Kobayashi in for CCV. So the usual Hart, Starfelt, Taylor, and I think it'll be the same midfield three of Kalmak, Hatate, and O'Reilly. I think he'll want to get as many minutes into Hatate again before the derby again next week. So I think he'll start again. And nobody can break up that front three for me at the moment. The three of them are absolutely electric. Maigida, Jota, and Kyogo. You're not breaking that up. They're just flying at the moment. I think it'll be comfortable. I think it'll be 3-0.
I think it'll be quite comfortable too. I'm going to go Joe Hart, Ralston, Kobayashi, Starfelt, Craig Taylor. I'm going to go Kalmak, Iwata, and O'Reilly. Give Rio maybe half an hour in this game. I'll go Jota, Kyogo, and Maeda. I think that, as you said, the front three are on fire at the minute, and they can't really make a case for dropping any of them. Haksabanovi's come in, didn't do a great job, and he's still taking time to bed in, but I think he'll come good. But my score will be, I'm going to stick with you, 3-0. I'll stick with a wee 3-0, wee comfy one. But just a quick one here before we head off. Obviously, we're an hour and a half in. Someone mentioned Abada leaving in the summer. I think everyone's resigned to the fact that he may be going, or he's in talks to go with somebody. Do you subscribe to that? Do you think he's looking away?
Nah.
No.
Nah, I think he's just injured. I think he's a wonderful talent. I don't think he's anywhere near the finished article. Nowhere near it. I still think he's a long, long way away from it. And I think he's in the best place possible for And that's the same for Jota and all the rest of it. I think they're in the best place in world football for them to develop at this moment in time. Abada's nowhere near any of the top elite clubs in the world. Nowhere near it. I think I can get there, definitely. I think he's got an eye for goal. I think he's a tremendous player. I just think he's out. He's just carrying an injury. I think he'll come in. Hopefully he gets back for injuries soon. I don't know if he's back. Is he back?
Abada's back, yeah.
Fit at least. Hopefully he gets half an hour on Sunday and then gets a run of games towards the tail end of the season and show what he did at the start of the season. Mind Abada's kind of the forgotten man at the moment, but
he is.
He's still like your third or fourth top goal scorer in what he did in that first part of the season. A wonderful talent, great eye for goal. I think if Andrew's got anything to say about it, I don't think he'll be going anywhere.
Well, I mean, as I said, Ross comes in. I'd be amazed if Abada was still here beyond the summer. I don't know where. I mean, I'm usually the rumour mill guy, but I don't know where it's all came from. I know he changed his agent to the same as Juranovic in the summer window. Maybe I know his the Israel coach Gus Poyet said he may be looking away as well. But again, if it happens, it happens. But I'm kind of siding with you in this, Willie. Development wise, he's at probably the best team at the minute under Postecoglou, and I think that it's just stay that way. He's only 20. Couple more years under his belt at a team like this, 100%.
And in this team as well, mate. See this team?
Yeah.
Like, there was a point halfway through this season where everybody was slating Maeda and saying he's absolutely ranked rotten. Now he's the best thing since sliced bread. There's people coming in and out the team all the time. O'Reilly ranked rotten. Now he's the best thing. Moy was talking about Moy being player of the year. Now he's a forgotten man because he's been injured and somebody else is taking his place. Abada can. I don't see it. I don't see it, to be honest with you. Abada could come in and start next season, being the first 11. No problem at all. I just think that he's had injury. Somebody's came in and taken his place. He's just getting back from injury now. It's difficult to get back in this side when they're firing all cylinders. I just think that I think we'd be stupid to let him go, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I like Abada. I mean, his goal contributions is incredible for a guy of such a young age, and his impact he's had in the games.
To be fair,
European level too, he scored.
Yeah, I can. And if you're putting two together, and I remember obviously I had a bit of a relationship with Beaton when he was here last season. Beaton's not been here this season, so I can see you can put 2 and 2 together there, and he's kind of maybe, pardon me, feeling a bit alone and all the rest of it. But nah, I'm not. I'm not having that. I think he'll still be here.
You never want a player to leave, Willie. You're dead set against it. But I mean, what we do know is Celtic have the chance to be crowned champions at Tynecastle. Kyogo has the chance to break the 30 goal mark. Postecoglou is going to be crowned the king, as he always is for Celtic at the minute. And other king, Henrik Larsson, who'll never be dethroned, but Postecoglou's making a good fist of it. But have you enjoyed this podcast, Willie?
Absolutely, mate. Like I said, being on holiday, and I've missed it. I was in the comments when I was on holiday. And
yeah, you were.
Because I missed it. It's been great to be back. I always love a Friday. I always love being on with you as well, mate, debating. A lot of debate in the chat, a lot of disagreement as well, so it's been fun. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, and as I said, thanks to everyone who's joined in the chat. It's been great debate and all the comments flying in. And just like I said at the middle of the podcast there, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share us among friends, family, Celtic Supporters Club, Celtic supporters, anyone you want to, just anyone who likes football. Do you know what I mean? Get us involved with that. And in the meantime, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.